Hi, today we'll talk about how you can prepare for event storming session, what's important from both business and developers perspective. And we'll talk about both offline and online workshops. Hi Tomek.
Hi, Łukasz. Yeah, so I think we can start with what the event storming is, right?
Mm-hmm.
So basically, we use it to visualize system as it is or as we would like it to be. It's complex, complex sentence now, but yeah. And in general, you can see here, for example, just a example board from the Miro board where we're visualizing some kind of business processes and so on in the organization in the startup this time. And besides the visualization, it's a very great tool for the knowledge sharing between like all participants in the workshop. And last but not least, also gathering requirements, right?
In some way, yes. Not strictly, but basically, yeah, you're getting the knowledge that you can turn into requirements. That's what I would stick to. Yeah, it's just like a workshop where people gather, and all we do is that we get the sticky notes, right, and we stick them to the wall or to the virtual wall. And that's how it may look like from the high level perspective, but it's not about just getting sticky notes into the wall, right? There is a purpose for it. And
Yeah,
yeah,
and I think this purpose is the clue here, right?
yeah. So every time we start the event storming session, and we do that for different purposes. Sometimes we do it just between two of us or in the development team when we need to just figure something out. Or sometimes we do that with the business, right? But we always start with a question: why are we going to do the workshop? So what's the goal? What do you want to achieve? Do we want to map out the existing business processes? Do we want to learn about something? Do we want to remodel the business? This is what Tomek mentioned, the as is versus to be perspective, right? So we may start with how it works right now, and then we may redefine how the business process should look like. And then it's up for us developers to actually remodel that in our code. But
Yeah.
I guess that's for another time, how to do the remodeling, right?
Yeah, and I think that I mentioned that the purpose is clue here because it's I think it's the most important thing that you have to have like specific goal you want to achieve with this session, because we've heard about event stormings that were run like the workshops just to run them, right? To like without the goal, without the clearly specified goal, without the purpose,
Just to have a session.
just to have the session. It makes no sense, right? It makes no sense to business, it makes no sense to developers, because you just you spend some time and you invite a couple of people there, so you have to have some kind of goal specified before the workshop, just to make a good use of the time that people will spend on that workshop, right?
An example of a goal could be introducing a new person to a project, right? So a knowledge sharing session. Another goal could be looking for the most problematic areas when it comes to further development of application, or perhaps looking for some issue like maybe multiple people try to do something and they cannot because the system doesn't allow it. So kind of getting from this business problem into concurrency issue when we think about the technical problem that may be behind it. So first step, define the goal. What would be other thing that you need to do to prepare for an event storming session?
So just one thing about the goal. It can be as we said, it can be different. Sometimes it can be like just a knowledge sharing with the whole team and the business. So we are on the same page when it comes to the business and processes in our system, and it may be helpful to define the goal if you also know in on what kind of project you will be like running this event storming session, because it will be different when running on the greenfield and different when you run it on the existing project, I know legacy or existing project. So in the greenfield, for example, before the session, it would be good to have kind of description, general description of the domain that we will be modeling, let's say, or the piece of we will be modeling if we don't have it yet, because it's like we will be implementing it, or have kind of wireframes, as you can see, for example, here. So if it's something new, you will you can present those wireframes for the participants, and to show them what we are going to model. Let's say just to visualize that, and then we can put events later on. But for the existing project, it will be a bit different, right, Łukasz?
Yeah, I'll just add one thing that you probably, if you're working with people that are not used or don't know domain-driven design and they don't use the domain word, so don't tell them to prepare a domain description, rather ask them what's the application is supposed to do, right? Just use simple words and don't overcomplicate that. We have a tendency to do that as an industry. Let's not do this. This is my statement, and let's not do this. So, but the question was, what else should we prepare for an existing domain, an existing application, not the domain? Well, basically, you don't have to prepare anything. But if you want to just maximize this session, maximize the time usage that we can have, you can think about problematic pieces of your software, right? So if you're working in an existing product, you probably know that there are some areas that just work fine, and there are areas that are problematic because the business processes are complex or overcomplicated, and they should be simpler. So prepare this kind of things, refresh your mind so you come up prepared and you know exactly what you want to talk about. Of course, given that it is aligned with our goal of the session, right? Because that's the first step. We need to have a goal. Another things that you may need to prepare as both a business but also as a developer, think about the part of the process that we are talking about, once again, with the goal in mind, that where the revenue is generated, right? Where is the money, how the money is generated, why people pay for this module and so on. This is important because often in the sessions we want to follow the money and see where it's leaking or where we could maximize the amount of the revenue in certain places of the app. Another thing is from the developer's perspective, right? Where is the problematic part when it comes to implementing some kind of business ideas? If you have some specific examples from the past that happens just recently or maybe some time ago, it's also good to remind yourself, bring this to the table. We may not discuss that, but we will highlight that. We will make this visual statement with hotspot sticky note, and you can solve that either later on, or maybe if there's a RIA, if there's a place for that, we can do it right away. Also, what is important is to think about, what kind of bugs occurred in certain areas, what losses they caused, right? So, for example, if there is a bug with payments, how much money the business lost or could have lost, right? Because we need to look what is important, and if we know that there are some areas that are problematic, it's better to highlight them, and the more information we can get, the better it is. And as I said, once again, we don't have to discuss everything, but just making this visual statement, it makes everyone in the room aware, or in the online room aware, that there is a problem, and we should probably at some point address that, because it's a beauty of those sessions, because this is collaborative workshop, right? So often people don't know what you have in your head, right? So
exactly.
If I know something exactly, it doesn't mean that you will know the same thing exactly. And if I state my mind, and if I just give this visual artifact as a sticky note, or maybe screenshot in an online workshop, right? Or maybe print something in an offline one. There's many ways, different ways how we can achieve that, and that's up to facilitator to kind of extract this from the people. But it is important that with those visual statements, people are getting more aware, because this is a collaborative workshop and we want to talk with each other.
Exactly. And I think so, just to like sum it up, we like it's important to like refresh knowledge about the piece that we want to, let's say, event storm, we can say, I think.
Yeah. Talk about.
Yeah, talk
Workshop.
about exactly, because then if everyone will refresh the knowledge, like we can combine them together, right? Everyone has some kind of different point of view on different places of the system. And sometimes it could be like there will be those places, we call them hotspots, more on that in later videos, where different point of views are totally like disconnected, right? And different persons have different knowledge about this specific piece, and they have different thoughts about it, right?
Exactly.
And that's great, because if you like combine those people and go with one approach after the workshop, it will be easier for everyone in the company, right?
Yeah.
So again, it's like refresh your knowledge about the stuff you want to event storm, make a workshop about, and like again define the goal before, right?
Yeah. And another step is to invite the right people, right? And we need the people that can contribute to the goal. So once again, we need to know what goal do we have. Sometimes the goal will be a little bit fuzzy, and then we should invite more people to kind of get everybody's perspective, right? We want to have every department, every part of the company available if we don't know exactly how it works from their perspective. And maybe we need that input when we talk about, I don't know, about a product, for example, right? We need to have different people that work with product from different departments. And even though this may be one model in the code, one class, one database column, different actors may have different view, different perspective on that subject. So it's important to invite those people. And when you invite them, you don't have to tell them that it's an event storming session invented by Alberto Brandolini. It's connected with domain-driven design. No, just tell them that. Listen, guys,
don't do that.
Don't do that. Don't do that. What I like to do is just to say, hey, guys, listen, we are making this collaborative workshop. You don't need to prepare. Maybe if you want to, just refresh yourself about this and that business idea from the system, right?
And on the workshop, accidentally, I have this Miro board here. Let's put some notes there.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, people this year, they're probably used to work with Miro. I mean, many of our clients already do that, right? So it's no surprise that we do that. So yeah, but just the point is that don't just spread all the ideas. If you're into event storming, right? Don't just tell them what we're going to do exactly, what steps and so on. Maybe if someone requires explanation, then sure. But if you're invited, just keep it simple, right? Come to the collaborative workshop. We'll discuss this thing. The goal of this workshop is, once again, the goal. All right. But as I started talking about the tools, right? So there's more tools, maybe not more, but different tools in online and offline event storming sessions, right, Tomek?
Yeah. Can we say that the important tool here is facilitator?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think so.
So yeah, facilitator, like the person who runs the workshop and knows how to run it, and also because they always have already some kind of set of heuristics that they can use on the workshop. And as a result, the workshop goes smoothly, and achieving the goal is easier, right? Because you will also, and one more thing, like it's also very important on the first phases of the workshop as well. When you have this kind of big picture, we call it big picture, where we actually invite a lot of people from different departments that are not maybe familiar with like IT stuff and so on, technology. Later on in the later phases, we might have less people, but on this first phase, when we have like people that can feel that maybe it's not the workshop is not for them, the facilitator person like really runs the workshop and makes everyone like feel comfortable, right? On the workshop.
The role of facilitator is also to make it smooth, but also to extract the knowledge from everyone. But sometimes it is also to I like to call it state the obvious. What I do is that, like, if two people I hear that they are saying basically the same thing in a different words, I try to rephrase that, and often it makes all the difference, because suddenly when it's rephrased, they either agree or disagree, but they got this new perspective from an outsider. But we'll talk. I think we should record another video on the facilitator, how to do that, and what's the differentiation between good and bad facilitator. But that's not for today. To finish this episode, let's just mention a few tools for an online session. So our favorite tool for online session is a Miro board. And what is also necessary is, of course, some video conference tool, the communicator that you could use. I personally like Zoom because of the breakout rooms, especially if I have a larger group, but Meets at Google will do as well. What's important is to get yourself familiar, especially if you're facilitating, but if you're not, it's also good because we want to maximize the output of the outcome of the session, not the output, but the outcome. Output are stickies. Outcome is what comes out from those stickies, right? So we don't want to waste time to teach everyone. So if you can, just prepare people, maybe record a 5-minute Loom, tell people where are the sticky notes and how to navigate in the Miro. Maybe tell them to create accounts. That's very useful. Besides that, from facilitator's perspective, but also if you're participating, it's important that people have cameras turned on, because from the facial expressions, sometimes from the body expression, if the camera is set right, if I can see that somebody is crossing his hands or her hands, then I can actually just keep digging this person and try to understand what's going on, why they refuse or why they don't agree or have doubts about what has been just stated. So it's extremely important to have these cameras on. What about the offline session, Tomek?
So just also to sum it up, like the online session is maybe easier to run when you have like distributed, remote work, right? And you want to have like all people there, but like about the offline, it might be sometimes easier if you are in the company, because anything that you need is just like the sticky notes, really, some pens, right, and the walls, and the walls, and that's it, right? Probably. Oh well, if you work on the open space, you always also have at least 4 of them, right?
Yeah.
So in from that point of view, it's easier, right, to run this workshop. But again, you also have to have some kind of snacks and so on, right?
I think there are pros and cons in both of them. I really like the possibility to copy and paste in Miro board.
That's actually a great great thing on the Miro board, right? That you can copy and paste. It's harder actually on doing that on the wall with already sticky notes on the wall, right?
Yeah, exactly. So you have artifact for longer. But actually, with Miro, you can take a picture of your real sticky notes and then convert that to Miro. It works pretty good. Maybe it's improved right now. I didn't use it for quite some time. But besides of that, for both online and offline session, I would add to have some snacks and water prepared, because those sessions are very intensive, and you need your glucose to be in place. So whatever makes you feel refreshed and just gives you energy, you should probably have something close to yourself at your desk to grab this energy whenever you feel you're going down, because you want to maximize this time. You want to be listening, but you also want to be actively participating, because if you don't, then it's not worth spending your time here, I guess.
Yeah.
So I guess that's it on how to prepare for both offline and online event storming session. Thank you for watching, and
Thank you.
See you next time. Ciao.
See you. Bye.